Amber walked into Brother Gary's office with so much enthusiasm and joy. She was happy. I'm sure she would have been hopping into his office. What was Amber's reason for her enthusiasm? She was getting married. She was in love. She had fallen in love with a man who fit in perfectly with everything that she actually wanted. He checked all the right boxes. She didn't care that this man was someone she just met 3 weeks ago. After all, they are in love. What else? Neither was she bothered about the fact that this same man had gone through 2 other marriages and those marriages failed. She wasn't also bothered with the fact that those same marriages, the 2 marriages, produced 3 children for the same man she was getting married to. And finally, Amber still felt love could conquer all. Why? She wasn't even bothered about the fact that this same man she was getting married to had changed jobs in 1 year 3 times. Was Amber wrong? Let's all find out. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of The Review with me. I'm your host and your walkthrough reading coach, Mrs. Peace Terminal, and we are reading the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Have you been able to catch up on all the other episodes? We've read chapter 1, What Happens to Love After the Wedding. We've also read chapter 2 of the book, I so love that book, 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and today we'll be reading chapter 3. Well, if you've guessed what the title of chapter 3 is, let's see what you have to say in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Tag a friend who you think needs this, and if you're ready, come with me while we walk straight into chapter 3 of the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, titled Falling in Love. Now back to my earlier story. A lot of people are like Amber. They actually go into marriage with the in love experience. Who doesn't fall in love? I mean, I fell in love with my husband too, and I'm sure for those of you who are married, you will say the same thing when asked. You fell in love, right? Most times, most marriages start with the in love experience. We meet someone who we get attracted to their physical traits, their physical characteristics, their personality traits, and before you know what is happening, it starts creating butterflies in our tummy, giving us an electric shock that helps to trigger our love system. And at that point, what do we want to do? We just want to meet this person one more time. We just want to get to know this person one more time, and then we set up a date. Now, the thing is, for most people, after the first date, they don't want to go further because they realize there are some things that don't just meet it at all for me. And while for others, after the first date, we just want to keep going on and on and on. We lose our sleep, we can't think, we can't work, we can't do anything because the thoughts of that person clouds our mind, and before we know what is happening, we start talking about marriage. Alright, so chapter 3, I just told you one of the stories in the book, also from chapter 3, but the names were changed. Remember, I told you one thing about this book is that their real life experiences, because Gary Chapman is a marriage counselor that has been in the line of counseling for over 30 years. All right, so he uses for this book. He also gives and uses real life examples to make sure we are able to connect with it. Now, this in love experience can be very overwhelming in a nice way. Meanwhile, it helps people. At that point, people begin to dream of marriage. They dream of marital bliss. They dream that yes, we will get married and we'll live forever after. Have you noticed that most of the cartoons we actually watched as children, especially those who are of the millennial age, when we watched cartoons, they were always forever, they lived happily ever after. But with time, we see a comeback of those cartoons, and then the people we thought that lived happily ever after, there's another part showing where something went wrong. And the forever happily ever after was no longer happening, or it was no longer forever. Why? Things happen in marriage. So back to what I was saying. Now, these people in love, the in love experience makes you feel like you could actually go through marriage in a bliss. Yes, we're going to get married. We know we're different people. We're going to have challenges, but our case is different. You may have divorced before, but our own case is different. We are in love, and our love is not like your previous love. So we will make it. And even when we have challenges, we are adults and we are in love. We will sort it out. Well, guess what? That is fiction and not facts. That is not the truth. Now, a study conducted by a psychologist showed that the average lifespan for the in-love experience is 2 years. It could last longer than 2 years if that relationship is a secret affair. I hope you know, when something is done in secret, it tends to, there's this thrill about the secrecy of everything, the hide and seek, and it makes it last long. But at the end of the day, trust me, the in-love experience always comes to an end. And after the in-love experience comes to an end, we shout, welcome to marriage. What do we mean by welcome to marriage? The reality of marriage is the reality where hairs are found on sink, where we see little spots on the mirror, both in the bathroom, which may result from brushing. We see shoes that don't walk into the closets on their own. We see drawers that don't close themselves. We see plates in the sink that don't get themselves, dishes in the sink that don't get themselves washed. We see clothes lying around on the bed that cannot hang themselves, and so on and so on. And what does this lead? It leads to the question, did we really have the real thing? Did what we shared, was it actually real? Auntie, uncle, it was very real, but you walked into it with a wrong information. And what was that information? You walked into marriage with the information that your in-love experience will last forever. Now, at this point, a lot of people have two options which they feel is tabled out for them. Option number one, continue in this marriage and live a life of misery. Probably one person will start nagging and the other one will be avoiding the house. Or second option, you bail out, walk out of the marriage and try again. Probably it will get better with the next one, but for how long? We've met some people who have been married over 6 times, not really in this part of the world, that is in the African aspect, but in the Western world, we've seen people who have gotten married 6 times, and they still have issues, and then they divorce. What then is the issue? Remember chapter 1, we asked the question, what happens to love immediately after the wedding? There is an in-love experience, and it can last for a very short time. Remember the research conducted, averagely 2 years span, and then the in-love experience begins to wane. Well, this book and I, as your walkthrough reading coach, are here to give you option number 3. A lot of people just have 2 options which they want to work with, but hey, the good news is there isn't a third option. Were you really lied to? Were you not in love? No, you were in love. It's just that you didn't know that there was an in-love experience, and that in-love experience was beginning to wane because of the reality of marriage. So what is the third option? The third option is that you should recognize the in-love experience for what it really is. It is a temporal phase in marriage, and now you have to begin to pursue real love with your spouse. What does real love mean? Real love is a love that is emotional and not obsession. It is not an obsessional love, it is an emotional love. It is a love that unites reason and emotions together. So at this point, you know that, okay, this person is not perfect, I also am not perfect, and we have to work together. And that was why we started our podcast review with why you act the way you do, so you get to understand yourself first before understanding your own spouse. So as I was saying, real love unites reason and emotions. It involves acts of will and with discipline. So whatever you're doing, you do it with discipline, and it also recognizes the need for personal growth. So real love does not just point accusing fingers to others. You also realize and recognize the need that I also need to grow. in real love, you realize, or in every marriage, you realize that there is a desire to be genuinely loved by another person and to fall in love. So when you're married and when the in-love experience begins to wane, you realize at that point that I no longer want an in-love experience. I want to be genuinely loved by this person. This person has seen every part of me. You've seen the things, because we all agree and we all know that there are things we will not know about our spouse until we enter into marriage. And if you marry the God kind of way, where the bed is kept holy without being defiled until marriage, there are a lot of things you won't even find out. For example, if you marry somebody that snores, I for one, I don't know how to sleep when somebody snores. I don't even know how to sleep with noise. So imagine, those are some kind of things that you get. Will I now say I want to divorce the man because he snores? So you actually tend to, you now, when you get into marriage and when the in-love experience fades, you now want to be loved for, you want to be really loved for who you are than just to fall in love. Now, married couples long to feel loved and affection from their spouses. Hence, the in-love stages. After the in-love stages, couples must intentionally and rationally choose things of their own volition. They must choose to do things of their own volition, not because they are doing, not because no. You will choose to do it now because I love this person. I want this person to be happy. So my parent coach made a statement one particular time. My parent coach, when she was talking, she said, from the moment she was getting married to her husband, she told him, I don't like ironing. I mean, even personally, I don't like ironing too. And that day I was reading a comment she made. She said, for the number of years they have been married, this man has always made sure that all her clothes are ironed. Before they could even afford to get a dry cleaner to iron those clothes, he was doing the ironing for her. That's real love. You are doing something of your own volition. You are doing it because you want to make this person happy. You want to make this person feel loved. That is what real love is all about. You are intentional and rational about it. You do things with your own volition, because marriage, guess what, is work. Anybody that is going into marriage with the mindset that, you know, when you were courting and when you were dating, okay, let's eat out, let's order in pizza, let's do this, let's do that, we'll go to the cinema today, we'll go to the park tomorrow, we'll go to this one, we'll go to that one. That was during the courtship. I'm not saying those things don't exist in marriage, but trust me, it's not every time you want to go to the park. It's not every time you want to go see a movie. It's not every time you want to eat out. Sometimes when you get into marriage, you know that you have to get a bigger space, probably kids. You begin to plan for kids, and then rent, the utility bills. At that point, before you know what is happening, you become circumspect in your spending. You begin to plan your finances, and then you have priorities. So instead of eating out, if we get the meal and get it home cooked, we know that it's going to save us it's going to save us a lot of spending. So before you know what is happening, some of those, we're going to this one today, we're going to the club tomorrow, we're going to that one today, we're going to this one tomorrow, will be cut down. Responsibilities begin to step in, and that is why we say marriage is work. And if you are not ready to intentionally work on your marriage, trust me, you will want to bail out of it. Marriage is intentional work. What is this book promising you and I? It's promising to revolutionize our marriage, our relationship with our kids, our relationship with probably whoever, the spouse, the person you're about to get married to. It will revolutionize your relationship. And if we intentionally read and follow through every step of it, trust me, you will have testimonies from this book. Reading through this book, I dropped the link in the first chapter. Chapter 1 has dropped. Yes, chapter 1 has dropped. Don't worry, chapter 2 will be dropping soon. It's ready, but you know, it will be dropping next week. But chapter 1 has dropped. I hope you've been able to go through it. In this book, you'll find a lot of real life stories and their challenges and how they were able to work through each and every one of them. I just hope and pray you join me in reading this book. Once you read the book, trust me, there will be a revolution in your marriage, because a spouse emotional tank, when a spouse emotional tank is full, they feel secured. When your spouse emotional tank is full, they feel secured. But when your spouse emotional tank is empty, they feel useless and unloved. They feel used. They feel like I've just been used in this marriage. I've not gained anything from this marriage. So the question now is, are you ready to make sure your marriage blooms? Are you ready to work on your marriage? Because trust me, if you are listening to this and you are not yet married and you are not ready to work on marriage, marriage is not a bed of roses. It's not like marriage is bad. Honestly speaking, marriage will only give its rewards to the people who are ready to do the work. So if you're not ready to do the work, then please, there's no reason for you to get married. Therefore, my question to each and everyone listening to this book or listening to this podcast today is, number one, when did you realize that the in-love experience in your marriage has faded? When did reality set in for you when you got married? Number two, when did your in-love experience fade? And number three, how did it affect your marriage? Did it affect your marriage in a good way, or did it affect it in a bad way? I'll start with my own answer and I will drop it in the comment section. I will be hoping to hear from you. Thank you very much everyone for staying with me through this particular time. I hope you were able to get something. If you didn't get anything, just note that in-love experience is temporal. You as a married couple should begin to pursue the feeling of real love. Thank you once again. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe and follow. Tag a friend who you know and you think needs this, and I will see you in the next chapter. God bless you.